Young astronomy PhD student Kate Dobiaski is operating the Subaru telescope in Michigan when she discovers the orbit of a comet passing near Earth. She shares her findings with her professor, Dr. Randall Mindy, who congratulates her, then names the comet after her. They compute its trajectory and find out the comet is due to hit Earth in 6 months, most probably wiping out life on Earth since it is huge enough to do so. On the verge of panic, they call NASA, and after reporting their discovery to them, the head of Planetary Defense Coordination Office, Dr. Teddy Oglethorpe, invites them to DC so that they can meet the president over this issue, which is now considered confidential information. They come to the White House in the morning and are left waiting for the whole day without a word from the president, who wants to take care of the scandal involving one of her candidates. Kate and Randall are sent to spend a night in some hotel, where they call their loved ones and try to find comfort in their voices without being able to reveal what is happening. Randall calls his wife June and his sons to check up on them, while Kate talks with her boyfriend Philip, who works as a journalist for some important newspaper. It is only on the following day that Kate, Randall, and Teddy get to finally see President Janie Orlean and the Chief of Staff Jason Orlean, who happens to be the president's son. They don't take their warnings seriously, saying they're warned about the end of the world every month, with excuses like economic collapse and loose nukes, so for now, just sit and assess until the midterms are over. Seeing nothing is going to come from the White House, Teddy wants them to leak the information to the press, which could put them in jeopardy since speaking about classified information is against the law, although still better than dying to a comet. Meanwhile, tech billionaire CEO of Bash, Sir Peter Isherwell, is also informed about the comet by some astronomer friends. Philip gets Kate and Randall an interview with the New York Herald. First, they agree to tell their story, especially after confirming the data with other scientists and having the White House deny ever meeting them. But they insist first on the two of them going on the morning talk show, The Daily Rip, hosted by Brie Eventy and Jack Bremer. Neither do the hosts take them seriously, who believe they have to keep bad news light, which makes Kate snap and get angry on camera about how terrifying it was before storming off. Randall does stay to finish the interview, and after they are done, Brie invites him to have drinks with her later. The marketing team of the New York Herald then shows them the results of their presentation. The singer who had appeared before them talking about her breakup got more mentions on social media. Kate has turned out to be a meme as an angry lady. Randall is considered as really handsome for a scientist, and no one cares for what they had to say. It turns out the newspaper lies about NASA saying that the data is not good enough, and so they drop the story. However, he later discovers that he is under the president's agenda and was one of her donors, not even an actual astronomer headed NASA. To make things worse, Philip capitalizes on Kate's sudden going viral by writing an expose of how he used to sleep with her, an article that she takes as a breakout, and Randall cannot stay off social media, arguing with everyone who questions his scientific knowledge and conspiracy theorists. It's when some intimate pictures of her private parts are involved in a bigger scandal that the president calls the FBI again to bring Kate, Randall, and Teddy to her office, by which time she is apologetic for having ignored them. Kate quickly realizes that they do this only because they are afraid to lose the midterms, but accepts to help anyway, because getting to stop the comet is the most important priority at the moment. President Janie Orlean took to national TV with some shocking news. A comet was heading toward Earth, and it was big enough to wipe out all life on the planet. But she had a plan to save everyone. They would launch a spaceship armed with nuclear weapons to blow up the comet before it could reach Earth. Randall thought that the mission should be piloted with remote technology because of the grave danger. However, President Orlean decided to put General Benedict Drask as the pilot of the spaceship. She felt that with a real-life hero, people would feel more confident and calm about the mission. The next thing Randall knew, he and President Orlean were everywhere. TV shows, magazine covers, all of social media. The world finally listened. Randall appeared on The Daily Rip again, and somehow later that night, he and the show's host, Brie, spent the night together. Dr. Teddy and Kate sat on a conservative news show and yelled at people who claim the comet isn't real. Liftoff day saw the whole world watching the spaceship blast off successfully. That is when everything started to go wrong. General Drask's microphone was muted because he was saying awful, bigoted things on camera. Just when all of them thought that they were safe, here comes tech billionaire Peter Isherwell, who would have a private conversation with President Orlean that would change everything. Shockingly, the spaceship turned back to Earth. The mission was canceled. No one could fathom what had just transpired. All of a sudden, Randall was summoned to an emergency meeting to become the White House's chief science advisor, and both Teddy and Kate were left out of the meeting. It turned out that Isherwell, one of the president's huge donors, had found out that the comet was full of rare earth minerals that were worth trillions of dollars. These minerals were used in the manufacture of technological gadgets such as phones, most of whose supply was controlled by China. So, Instead of destroying the comet, they had planned to send drones that would break it into smaller pieces and let those pieces fall into the ocean to be mined later for production. Randall was enraged. He had known this plan was a risk. The technology Isherwell wanted to use hadn't been properly tested. Scientists who tried to speak out were being silenced. There was nothing Randall could do to stop this madness. After the meeting, Randall went to a bar and told everything to Kate and Teddy. The people around them overheard, and Kate could not hold her tongue to loud and proudly announce that the president was putting everyone's life in jeopardy just so rich people could get richer. This caused riots all over the city, and Kate ended up being arrested for revealing classified information and destruction of property. The FBI gave her a deal. In return for her freedom, she would never mention the comet again and would disappear from public life. Kate accepted and moved back to her small hometown in Illinois. Her parents, who were quite pro-government, refused to take her in, labeling her a traitor. Kate then got a cashier job at a supermarket where she got familiar with Yule and his crew. They really looked up to her and invited her to hang out with them. Kate discovered that they were stealing from the store but did not care anymore since the world was ending. She decided to join them and started dating Yule. Meanwhile, Randall continued to work for the president, feeling it was the only way that he could still be of service. He continued his affair with Bree, but all that came apart one day when his wife, June, surprised him in his hotel. She caught Randall and Bree in bed together, and Randall's weak excuses did little toward improving matters. Angry, June threw his pill bottles at him and left him once and for all. After a heated argument with Peter Isherwell about his stupid science, Isherwell informs Randall, rather coldly, that the algorithms predict that he would die alone. Randall finally cracks. He appears on the morning program and, unable to contain himself anymore, he erupts with anger. He yells at the public, screaming on national television because they are not taking the comet seriously. He now faces a lot of disbelief that it even exists. He reveals that Isherwood is suppressing the opposing voices from other scientists and that the president and her government are lying and have lost their minds. Finally, after his outburst, Randall is arrested by the FBI, who offer him a deal similar to the one they offered Kate. Stop talking about the comet, or else face dire consequences. This also resulted in Bree breaking up with him. Later on, Randall drives back to Michigan, defeated. Meanwhile, Kate is out having fun with Yule, and the two of them witness something amazing in the sky. The comet can now be seen by naked eye. They record themselves with the comet in the background and ask the world to simply look up and see for themselves. This triggers a massive look-up movement in which millions of people post about it online. Randall pops up on TV again, condemning even more horrible government plans. This time, Randall's message is supported by two renowned singers, who together composed a special song called Just Look Up. President Janie Orlean responded with her very own movement, Don't Look Up, singing about how Randall wants to just scare them and take their freedoms away. The movement is on, with millions of people, conservative voters and people into conspiracy theories. Riots and protests piled up on the streets. While people were facing adverse conditions around the globe, Russia, India, and China takes an attempt to launch their own spaceship to deflect the comet, but the launch fails and the spacecraft blows up. While the comet is getting closer and more people are realizing that they were lied to, Randall takes Kate, Yule and his family grocery shopping and then drives the whole family back to his hometown to spend their last day together. Randall's wife, June, when he returns home, pardons him and reassures her vows to him, saying that she too had once cheated in their relationship. A little later, Teddy joins them, and they spend a last dinner together recollecting and holding the final prayer for each other while awaiting the comet's impact. In the launch night, a bit nervously, Janie asks Isherwell what do the algorithms predict for her death. He warns her that she'll be killed by a Bronteroc, some creature she doesn't know. The spacecraft lifts off, but even though Isherwell assures everything is okay, the drones malfunction and explode upon reaching the comet. Realizing there's no escaping their fate, Isherwell and Janie leave secretly to meet other millionaires on a secretive spaceship designed to keep its passengers alive in cryogenic sleep, thus able to get off Earth just as the comet is going to hit. In the panic to get away, Janie completely forgets her son, Jason. She calls Randall and offers him a place on the spaceship for him and his wife, but he declines the offer, choosing to stay with his family until the end. With the comet finally hitting Earth and destroying life as we know it, everyone around the world hangs on to loved ones. Jason, somehow surviving the disaster, gets out of the rubble and immediately celebrates his survival with a selfie. 22,074 years later, the spaceship comes to rest on a new planet. Since the atmosphere was indeed life-supporting, The millionaires awaken from their cryogenic sleep and begin to explore their new home. When Janie approaches a beautiful new animal, she is suddenly attacked and killed, just like the algorithms strive to warn. It was a Bronteroc.